second part of my interview with radio and TV host Mark Levin, I asked his thoughts on the mainstream media versus Trump and his take on liberalism these days. Take a look.
The press claims to represent freedom of the press. Press doesn't represent freedom of the press. Nobody's attacking freedom of the press. They have a First Amendment right. Unlike Obama, the president hasn't sicked the FBI on individual reporters or news operations or anything of the kind. So the press is free to be bombastic, and they have many drama queens in the press who really aren't reporters. They are big mouths. They are trying to promote themselves. And you know what they're doing? They're making it more and more difficult for the people to get the news, to get information, and they're making it more and more difficult for this administration and this republic to function. They're not contributing to society in any positive way. I'm not saying they have to agree with the president, but day in and day out to try and sabotage the president and make it impossible for him at times to govern, that is unacceptable. That's not a free press. These are radicals dressed up as reporters who have as their purpose to undermine the president. As for liberalism, well, it's not liberalism anymore. It's statism and progressivism. These are radicals. Just listen to their leadership and so forth. You want to impeach a president of the United States the day he's elected, the day he's inaugurated? That's not what the impeachment clause says. We know what that's about. The framers discussed it at the Constitutional Convention. You don't just get to impeach a president because you disagree with him or you put a bunch of phony arguments together. The left wants to reverse the outcome of the last election. They don't like the outcome of the last election.
And they're disenfranchising everybody who voted to put Donald Trump in the Oval Office. But how does this all end, Mark?
Well, I'm not sure, but I do know this. If they succeed in impeaching the president, and they won't remove him because he'll never have the votes in the Senate, but just impeaching the president, you're going to have over 60 million Americans who voted for this president who are going to be furious. You cannot have what I've been calling the silent coup take place, where the left has tried to criminalize the election with Mueller, tried to politicize and reverse the election with this phony impeachment issue. You cannot reverse the votes, disenfranchise over 60 million Americans, and act like it's no big deal and pretend there was a basis for it. So this divide that we have in a nation, and we often have divides in this nation, I do not think it's something that can be fixed very quickly, because you are disenfranchising the American people. You're attempting to remove a president of the United States simply because you disagree with them. That's not America. That's some banana third world republic south of the border.
And finally, when you talk about a revolution, have you ever seen it this bad?
The Civil War was bad. I mean, we've had the riots in the 1960s was bad. What's different here to me is the institutionalization of the statist progressive agenda, which means you're not allowed to elect a president from the outside who wants to change what's going on in this country, even if the American people want to change it. Okay. The left felt that they were going to have their third term of Barack Obama. They were 100% sure that Trump couldn't win. He wins, and now they have spent 24/7 trying to destroy him, undermine. And by the way, destroy and undermine his supporters. The media in this country and the Democrat Party in this country are attacking a big faction of the American people day in, day out, calling us Nazis, cultists, racists. You know, it's almost not even aimed at Trump. It's aimed at tens of millions of Americans out there who finally have stood up and done something to their government, with their government, that we think is very, very effective, and the left cannot tolerate it.
Mark Levin, so great to have you on Justice. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Judge.